Okay, so this is going to be the weekly watch list starting on Monday, the 30th of October, so the week that's starting 30th of October 2023, if you're watching this back in the past. And what I'm looking at this week, so if we just go down, we can see price has swept the last week, price swept the week before its low and high. So it's a bit of indecision. We've had a lot of indecision on GBP USD lately with wicks on both sides all over the place. So not looking for any huge moves, not going to say like price is going to break up and go all the way up here. Obviously that wouldn't happen, but if we go down to the daily, it's a bit more clearer what I can see. So the main things I'm noticing, again, more indecision. We've got this supply zone over here that's been tapped into. Just mark that up, but that's not what I'm looking at. My bias is bullish, and I'll explain why. So we've also got this demand zone over here, which has been respected twice now. So when it gets mitigated twice, it is likely that it could break, but we've got a nice liquidity sweep of these lows. So that for me gave me a bias of bullish. And then my expectation is, you've got previous week low, previous week high. I can just label that up a bit better just to make it clear. Previous week high, that's what PWH stands for, and then PWL, previous week low. So these are our points to target for the week. And then this is on daily time frame, so go down to the 4-hour. What I sent last week was this demand zone, and price is now tapped into it. Gave a nice entry that I was going to send through on the 5-minute, but I just managed to miss it. So that's annoying, but it's a setup that you can follow. A textbook setup that repeats itself, so something to look out for. But on the 4-hour time frame, we tapped into the daily demand zone deeper, swept the daily liquidity, reacted off it, left the demand zone with a strong bullish candle, no wick imbalance above the zone, and now price is tapped into it and looks to be going up. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, my bias then is going to be, you can look for a re-entry maybe on Tuesday, take price up, fill this imbalance, maybe take out the high. So don't need to target this point, don't need to target here, just target towards it. With a 5-minute entry that I saw, price tapped down, due to swing during the London session, took out liquidity of the Asian low, tapped into the 4-hour demand zone that I sent through, pushed up, left some imbalance, and then reacted what I marked up before it pulled back. Just take my word for it, unfortunately, but I won't count it as me calling it. So price returned to the order block, the open of the candle before the push down, before the push up. Reacted off it nicely, or reacted off the imbalance, wherever you get energy from, and then targeting just the London session, the London kill zone high that was previously formed for a nice 1 to 4.5. So very nice trade, but I didn't manage to send it through in time, so that's a shame. But these are setups you're looking for on any time frame and any pair. So higher time frame mitigation of a PD array with your bias, and then lower time frame confirmation. That's pretty much textbook setup. Just repeat those rules over and over again, and you'll be great. So I'm going to do a different pair now. We'll have a look at USD CAD on the weekly time frame. Then bias is bullish. I'm going to look to target that high. I'll just delete all of this. Targeting this high over here. Price is close above here, strong close above it, and price is going to look to get pullback and then go long. That's my bias for the week. I can mark up the previous week's high as well, but we could target a bit beyond that. So go down to the daily, look for any PD arrays. And what there is there's this order block as well, but mainly there's this imbalance that price could come back into and then react from. So if it comes down deeper, still look for entries, but I'm not going to look for entries above this imbalance. Then onto the 4-hour. What we can see is there is some lows here, potentially liquidity resting below it, and then price could sweep the liquidity into the imbalance and then take off again. And there's also this demand zone over here with a strong bit of imbalance above it. So you could be looking at any of these zones to see price pull back into. The one way that I'm going to determine, and I'm going to do it now because I didn't do it before, is look at premium discount zones. So get my fib, low to high, and look for the 50%. So most of the zone is above the 50% line, so I'm going to wait for at least a pullback below the 50% line. Hopefully I'm going to look for a pullback into this imbalance. So this daily imbalance is just something extra, but my main bias is going to hopefully have a deep pullback to one of these zones and then continue up. So that's what I'm looking for on USD CAD. Previous week high and previous week low marked up, and that's USD CAD. So go on to Euro USD, and if we start on the weekly, marked up previous week's high and low. You can see what happened is the previous week high swept a lot of liquidity, and the previous week low hasn't done anything. It didn't go below the week before its low. So using the same bias I use for the daily time frame, you can use on the weekly to get an overall sense of where price is going. So for me, my bias is going to be looking to get the previous week low swept this week. So looking for a pullback and then continue down. So that's what I mean when I say looking for the previous week low to get swept. What I'm effectively looking for is price to have a pullback to the zone and then take out the low. So that's what I'm looking for. On the daily time frame then, looking for any PD arrays, nothing really that I can see. All I can see is that we had a strong push up in this day on Monday and then strong push down on Tuesday. That's something that does happen quite regularly. The Tuesday is the high of the week. So Monday does a fake move, and then Tuesday pushes down. It doesn't happen every week, but just something to look out for. But for me, it looks like a liquidity sweep above these highs, push up, and then straight push down. So then going on to the 4-hour time frame, you can mark up just the supply zone and try and take a nice entry from that. Which, let's have a look at the risk reward of that. This is something I might send through, targeting then the previous week low. And this would be a very nice 1 to 5.4 trade, but sometimes price does just go to the imbalance and then react from it. So I'll be looking at this whole zone probably. You don't get as good a risk reward. So if you're going for a risky trade, which I might send through up here, not a risky trade, but just a risk entry, so no confirmation yet, you can see clear liquidity sweep there with imbalance to the upside and then imbalance to the downside. So this is your typical liquidity sweep chart pattern. If you want to go through the chart pattern route, what I look for is to either take an entry from there or get a confirmation entry from the imbalance. So I'll just leave it green for now, but maybe get 5-minute confirmation in one of the kill zones in this area here. So I'll put my alert for that. I need to change the chart settings. Don't know why it always does that, but I'll set my alert here and I'll let you know when it gets to it, and we can look for trade entries together. So that's what I'm looking for in Euro USD, and then on AUD USD, just sticking to the four of the majors. Not every single major there is, but just 4 of the main ones I like to trade. Then on AUD USD, again, price is swept high over there and the high over here, so it could go either way. And to get a bias in this case, you would likely just have to look back and see what price is doing. And AUD USD has been a bit all over the place recently, so I can't really say much from the weekly time frame. Either of these highs or lows could get swept. I would just have to go down to a lower time frame to see it more clearly. But you can still mark these up even if you don't have your bias. So then going down to the daily, we can see what there is. Not really any PD arrays. Liquidity was a bit swept there. The liquidity was also swept here. We had equal lows here swept. So for me, my bias is bullish. I mean, unfortunately, we've already had Monday being bullish. Otherwise, we could have caught that. But there's a lot of liquidity here that has been swept. And then we can look for a lower time frame pullback. So there's no imbalance above this order block, so can't really get an entry there. But what we can do maybe is just look for a pullback and then continue up. So there could be some liquidity resting below this low on Friday. So maybe wait for price to come down, get an entry below here and go up. You can even go to a low time frame if you want and look to see if there's any more PD arrays below this area. So even though it doesn't really look like it, we could potentially wait for a pullback to this demand zone and see if price reacts from there. So I will mark an alert for that. See if price provides a pullback before going up, but it might just continue up. So have a look if there was any trade entries during the London session, and if we had the bullish bias that I'd already done, would you have got an entry there? The low is 519 and the high is 519. So to the micro pip or whatever it's called, the pipette, you could have got an entry like this. And obviously going for the imbalance would have been the safer entries, which I like to, if they've grown on me, entering from the imbalance, you just get nicer entries. Maybe not nicer entries, but more consistent entries. And they're 1 to 3 trade, very nice to start the week. So these are the kind of setups you can look for with the strategy that I use. Just on the weekly time frame, get your bias, choose which high or low is going to get taken, go down to a low time frame, look for PD arrays on the daily, look for any signs of what's going to happen on the 4-hour, any order blocks in there, and then wait for confirmation on the 5-minute. And obviously this didn't have confirmation. We didn't pull back into a 4-hour demand or supply zone. We just got market open during the kill zone, push down, strong push up, imbalance, price moved up, created some liquidity there, tapped into it, and moved up again. So that's kind of the setup for this trade. But my bias is still going to be bullish. So on the weekly, we can look for trades to take out the previous week's high. And we can look for a pullback and continue up. So that's what I'm looking for this week. So hopefully that's helpful. If you're looking at something else, then send it through and I'll have a look at it. We can all work together. Obviously, everyone can have different setups and different analysis. That doesn't matter. You just need to stay consistent with your approach or adopt my approach if you want to. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful and we'll do a weekly call soon. Just need to know when everyone's free because I've done a few weekly calls and no one's joined the call. So I haven't been able to give you as much value as I'd like to. But if you have any questions, then just let me know at any time.